Moving to Melbourne, Florida from California is a huge deal. In this video, I'm going to discuss what you can expect and what regrets you might have. If you're new here, my name's Alexandra and I'm a local realtor down on Florida's Space Coast. I have people calling me every day and I absolutely love it. So if you have any questions about what it's like to live in Melbourne, Florida, go ahead and give me a call, shoot me a text message, or send me an email. I've got your answers and I would love to chat with you. And if you want to keep seeing videos like this, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time I post a new video. Before we get started, I want you to know that this isn't just from research, but this is from personal experience. My husband and I moved from San Diego, California to Atlanta, Georgia, and a quick 8 months later moved down to Florida's Space Coast. So I know just what it's like to transition from beautiful California to beautiful Florida. All right, let's get into it. Number one, the dollar stretches a lot further in Melbourne, Florida than it does in California. Melbourne, Florida's cost of living is about 8.4% less than the national average, while in California, the cost of living is anywhere between 19% and 79% above the national average. You'll feel rich when you move to Melbourne, Florida from California because you'll have quite a bit more disposable income. Number two, housing costs significantly less here in Melbourne, Florida than it does in California, and this is a major benefit. In Melbourne, Florida, the median sold home price is about $377,000. This is anywhere from $100,000 to over $1 million less than the median sold home prices in California. That's a huge savings. Number three, let's talk about climate. Sometimes this is a huge regret from people moving from California to Melbourne, Florida. It is very hot here and very humid year-round. When we lived out in California, most days it was sunny and 75, which was amazing. But here in Florida, it's summer year-round. And it's hot summer, like in the 80s plus. One benefit, though, to Melbourne, Florida's climate over California is that our ocean water temperature is so much warmer. The ocean out in California is super, super cold, and if you were a surfer like I was, you'd always have to wear your wetsuit, sometimes even in the middle of the summer. But here in Florida, the ocean sometimes feels like bath water, which is kind of nice. Next on the list is number four, taxes. Taxes here in the state of Florida are so much lower than in California, most notably because the state has no income tax. So your taxes are going to be less here in Melbourne, Florida than they are in California. Number five, income and salaries. Here in Melbourne, Florida, there are lots of jobs with government contractors and in the space industry. We also have a lot of healthcare positions. The typical employer in Melbourne, Florida pays about 19% less than an employer in Los Angeles, California, for example. But because the cost of living is about 32% lower here in Melbourne, Florida than it is in California, you're going to have an increase in disposable income. Number six, let's talk about nature. Here in Florida, everything is flat. In California, you can go surfing and snowboarding in the same day. You can't quite do that here. Here in Florida, we have springs and the Everglades, sure, but we just don't have the variety of landscapes that you have out in California. And if you love hiking or you're a huge nature person, sometimes this is a huge regret of some Californians moving to Melbourne, Florida. Finally, let's talk about culture. Now, California and Florida both have quite a bit of culture, but it's different. Especially when we're talking about Melbourne, Florida versus somewhere like Miami, Florida. Here in Melbourne, Florida, there are not quite as many good food options when it comes to food from other countries as there are out in California. In California, we loved Tacos El Gordo and Coco's Curry. We also loved the pho from Saigon on 5th, but here in Melbourne, Florida, we have yet to find anything remotely close to those places. Here in Melbourne, Florida, we have tons of events, festivals, art galleries, concerts, and a few museums, but depending on where you're moving from in California, you may find yourself a little bit disappointed when you get here to Melbourne, Florida. Now, if you're moving from California to Melbourne, Florida, and you've got questions, which I'm sure you do because cross-country moves are huge, don't hesitate to reach out. I've done it myself and it was a lot. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. Thanks for watching. Bye.